Ladies and gentlemen, I want to talk to you about something incredibly powerful, something that has the ability to shape every moment of your life, every decision you make, and ultimately the direction you take, your emotions. The truth is, emotion is what moves us. It is the driving force behind our actions, thoughts, and beliefs. We often look for logic, structure, or reason to guide us, but in the end, it is how we feel that always leads the way. Emotion is the energy that propels us, and it never fails to make its presence known. Think about it. When you face a challenge or an obstacle, what is the first thing that surfaces? It's not your mind trying to calculate the best way to move forward. It's your heart, your emotion. You might feel fear, doubt, or frustration, or you may feel excitement, hope, or determination. Whatever it is, it will guide your next steps. Your emotions shape your perceptions, and they dictate how you see yourself, how you see the world, and how you approach everything you do. But here's the truth that I want you to understand. Emotion always wins. It always wins because it is a part of who you are. It's your inner compass, your deepest truth. And the way you respond to your circumstances reveals everything about your state of being. You can't outrun it, suppress it, or ignore it. And you don't need to. In fact, when you allow yourself to fully experience and embrace your emotions, you unlock the greatest source of power you have. The power to change, to grow, and to heal. Until, I know, it might feel tempting to avoid uncomfortable emotions. It's easy to shy away from pain, from sadness, from disappointment, but avoiding them only prolongs the struggle. When you resist your emotions, you are resisting the very part of you that wants to guide you toward your highest good. Every emotion, even the ones that feel challenging, carries with it valuable information. It's showing you what matters to you, what you need, and what you're capable of. You might be sitting here right now, feeling overwhelmed or unsure, and wondering if you have what it takes to move forward. I want to tell you this. Yes, you do. Your emotions are your strength. You can use them as a map to show you where you need to go next. When you feel fear, it's telling you that you care deeply about something important to you. When you feel frustration, it's showing you that you're ready to push past your limits. When you feel joy or hope, it's pointing to the path where your soul wants to grow. This is not about always being positive or only focusing on the good. It's about being honest with yourself and allowing all your emotions to be a part of your journey. You don't need to fix everything, control everything, or try to be someone you're not. What you need is to honor your feelings. Trust the wisdom they offer, and let them guide you to the next step. Remember, you are human. You are allowed to feel everything that you feel. There's no shame in that. There's no judgment. Embrace your emotions. Trust that they are always working for you. And know that the power you need to overcome any obstacle is already inside of you. You are not defined by a moment of doubt or fear. You are defined by your ability to rise, to learn, to move forward, and to choose a new path. No matter where you are in life right now, no matter the challenges you face, the love you have for yourself is the strongest force of all. Your emotions will guide you there. They always do. Let them be your guide. Let them lead you to a place of growth, peace, and fulfillment. And above all, never forget this: emotion always wins. Always. So take a deep breath. Feel what you feel. And know that the next step is already within you. You've got this. Emotions are the driving force behind all actions and decisions. It's easy to think that we are rational beings, that we rely on logic and reason to guide us through life. But if we dig a little deeper, we'll realize that emotions are the true architects of our reality. Whether we acknowledge them or not, they are constantly at play, influencing every choice we make, from the simplest of daily decisions to the most life-altering ones. Think about a time when you had to make an important choice. Maybe it was a decision about your career, a relationship, or even something as simple as where to go on vacation. In those moments, it wasn't just your mind calculating options and evaluating the pros and cons. No, it was your emotions driving you to choose one path over another. Maybe you felt excitement about one opportunity, fear about another, or a sense of peace with one choice over the other. It's not the logic that pushes you forward, it's how you feel about the situation. The mind processes, but the heart leads. Even when you try to make decisions based purely on logic, emotions are still there. They may be quieter, perhaps hidden beneath a veil of reason, but they are still influencing you. When you act out of fear, it's because your emotions have been triggered, even if you don't immediately recognize them. When you choose security over adventure, it's often the emotion of safety or the fear of the unknown that dictates your choice. On the other hand, when you act out of excitement or passion, emotions are the ones driving you to take that leap, to go after what your heart desires. Emotions have the power to create momentum in our lives, and when we ignore them, we're essentially ignoring the energy that fuels everything we do. Consider the role emotions play in our relationships. Love, empathy, anger, frustration. These are all emotions that shape how we connect with others. When we act out of love, we make decisions that bring us closer to the people we care about. When we experience anger or frustration, those emotions push us to make choices that reflect our values and boundaries. In both cases, emotions are not just reactions. They are guiding us toward what we need or what we want in any given moment. They are the underlying force that determines how we engage with the world and the people in it. Emotions are not just about the big moments, they shape our everyday lives as well. Think about how you feel when you wake up in the morning. If you feel a sense of dread or anxiety, that can colour the rest of your day, influencing how you interact with others, how productive you are, and how you respond to challenges. On the other hand, if you wake up feeling gratitude, joy, or excitement, those emotions will set the tone for the entire day. It's your emotions that determine how you experience each moment, how you perceive the world around you, and how you approach every challenge you face. Our enemy of the day. Emotions are not just reactions to external events. They are the internal compass that helps us navigate through life. They shape our identity, our choices, and our relationships. And without them, we would be directionless. Emotions are not just important, they are essential. For they are the true driving force behind everything we do. Logic may guide us, but emotion leads the way. We often believe that making decisions based on logic is the best approach. We convince ourselves that being rational, calculating every step and consequence, is the key to success. And yes, logic can certainly be a helpful tool. It helps us organize our thoughts, weigh options, and plan for the future. But logic alone is not what drives us. It's emotion that ultimately leads us to act, to make choices, and to pursue what matters most to us. Think for a moment about a time when you had to make an important decision, whether it was about your career, relationships, or even a life-changing experience. What was the driving force behind your decision? Was it a logical assessment of the pros and cons, or was it how you felt in your heart? In most cases, the final choice comes down to emotion. You may have logically reasoned through the details of your decision, but in the end, it's how the decision made you feel that carried the most weight. It's the feeling of excitement, fear, hope, or even a deep sense of peace that guides us forward. Logic can provide structure, but it's the emotions that push us to take action, to step into the unknown, to follow a dream, or to break free from comfort. It's important to realize that emotion isn't something that just happens to us. It's an integral part of the human experience, one that helps us understand our desires, our needs, and our values. Emotions are often the strongest signal we receive, even when we think we are being purely rational. Our hearts guide us in ways that logic simply cannot. When faced with a difficult decision, it's not enough to just evaluate the facts and numbers. There is a deeper, more intuitive part of us that has the final say. That intuitive pull, that gut feeling is driven by emotion. It's the part of us that knows what truly matters, even when the logical mind may try to weigh every possible scenario. Take relationships, for example. When we connect with others, it's not just based on the logic of how they align with our goals, our values, or our preferences. Yes, these factors play a role, but what truly deepens a connection is the emotion we feel in their presence, the comfort, the trust, the excitement. It's the emotional bond that strengthens relationships, not just the logical compatibility. Emotions allow us to empathize, to understand, and to build connections that go beyond reason. They give us the capacity to love, to support, and to care for others in ways that logic can't fully explain. Even in our work or creative pursuits, emotion is what fuels our drive. The most successful ventures are rarely born out of purely logical calculations. They are often the result of passion, inspiration, or a strong desire to make an impact. When we pursue our passions, it's not because the numbers say it's the best choice, it's because we feel a calling, a sense of purpose that logic alone cannot explain. Our emotions help us overcome doubts and fears, driving us to push past obstacles and take risks. Ultimately, while logic helps us navigate the world, it is emotion that gives us the energy to move forward. Emotions bring depth and meaning to our lives, guiding us through every choice, every challenge, and every moment of joy. It's the combination of logic and emotion that creates balance, but when it comes down to it, emotion will always lead the way. Every emotion, even challenging ones, carries valuable information. In our fast-paced world, we often rush to push aside negative feelings, fear, sadness, frustration, anxiety if they are hindrances, obstacles to our happiness or progress. We try to suppress them, ignore them, or wish them away, hoping that if we focus only on the positive, we can avoid dealing with discomfort. But the truth is, these emotions are not obstacles at all. They are valuable messengers offering us important insights into ourselves and the world around us. Consider fear, for example. Many of us view fear as something to avoid, something that holds us back. But fear is simply an emotion that arises when we feel something important is at risk. It's an internal signal that something matters to us. It's the body's way of alerting us to a potential threat, but also to a desire to protect what we care about most. Instead of running from fear, we can pause and ask ourselves, what is this fear trying to teach me? Is it signaling that I need to take extra caution? Or is it showing me that I am on the verge of a significant change, a growth opportunity? Fear is not the enemy, it's a guide offering us the clarity to make informed decisions. Embracing fear helps us face what lies ahead with awareness, courage, and a deeper understanding of our own needs. Sadness, too, can often be seen as a negative emotion. Many people try to avoid or numb sadness because it feels heavy, uncomfortable, or overwhelming. But sadness is often an emotional response to loss or unmet expectations. It's a reflection of how deeply we care about something or someone. When we allow ourselves to fully experience sadness, we give ourselves the opportunity to process those feelings and gain a clearer sense of what truly matters to us. Sadness reminds us of our values, the things we've lost or long for, and the things we need to heal. It is a powerful reminder that we are alive, that we are capable of feeling deeply, and that those feelings hold valuable insights into our personal journey. Frustration, likewise, is another emotion we often dismiss or try to suppress. We see frustration as a sign of things not going our way, as a sign of failure or lack of control. But frustration is a signal that we have unmet needs or desires. It's a call to action. When we feel frustrated, it's often because we are blocked in some way, either by our own limitations or by external circumstances. Rather than getting stuck in frustration, we can use it as fuel to break through those blocks. It can motivate us to take a different approach, explore new solutions, or adjust our perspective. Frustration, in essence, is an invitation to innovate, to grow, and to persevere. Even anxiety, a feeling that so many struggle with, holds valuable messages. Anxiety often arises when we feel uncertain or out of control, and it can create a sense of unease about the future. But anxiety can also be a wake-up call to reassess our priorities, clarify our goals, and evaluate whether we are on the right path. Rather than trying to escape anxiety, we can listen to it, allowing it to guide us toward the areas of our lives that need attention, self-care, or change. It can be a catalyst for personal growth, self-reflection, and transformation. When we start to view challenging emotions as valuable guides, we can begin to embrace them instead of fearing or avoiding them. Every emotion, no matter how uncomfortable, carries the potential for growth and understanding. They offer us a roadmap to deeper self-awareness, clarity, and resilience. By tuning in to these emotions, we not only are ourselves, but we also open the door to personal evolution, learning, and healing. Avoiding emotions only prolongs the struggle. Embracing them brings power. In life, we often find ourselves trying to outgrow, suppress, or ignore emotions, especially when they feel overwhelming or uncomfortable. The natural instinct is to protect ourselves from the pain, the fear, or the sadness that sometimes accompanies difficult situations. But in doing so, we miss the power that lies in fully experiencing and embracing our emotions. When we resist our emotions, we're essentially putting ourselves in a constant state of struggle. The longer we avoid facing them, the longer we remain stuck in a cycle of unresolved feelings and internal conflict. When you try to suppress your emotions, whether they're fear, anger, or sadness, you might feel like you're avoiding the worst of the pain. But the truth is, those emotions don't simply vanish. Instead, they lie dormant within you, waiting to resurface, often in more intense ways. The more you resist your emotions, the more they build up and the more difficult it becomes to process them healthily. This internal struggle takes its toll not only on your emotional well-being, but also on your physical health. When emotions are bottled up, they can manifest in physical symptoms, tension, fatigue, even illness. It's as though your body is holding on to what your mind is trying to deny. The longer you avoid your feelings, the longer the struggle persists. On the other hand, when you embrace your emotions, even the uncomfortable ones, you begin to release their grip on you. You allow yourself to fully experience what you're feeling without judgment or resistance. This act of acceptance is liberating. It's as though you're giving yourself permission to be human, to acknowledge the range of your emotional experience. And in doing so, you reclaim your power. Emotions are not something to be feared or avoided. They are part of the human condition. They are signals offering valuable insight into what is going on within you and around you. When you listen to them, when you let yourself feel what you're feeling, you tap into a well of inner strength. Embracing your emotions doesn't mean being ruled by them. It doesn't mean allowing fear or anger to dictate your actions. It means acknowledging their presence, understanding their message, and then choosing how to respond. It means giving yourself permission to feel sad when you need to, but also recognizing that sadness will pass and you will emerge stronger. It means accepting that fear is a natural response to uncertainty, but not allowing it to paralyze you. By embracing emotions, you allow yourself the space to process, heal, and grow. When you embrace your emotions, you also build resilience. Every time you face a difficult emotion and choose to confront it rather than avoid it, you build your emotional muscles. You learn that you are capable of handling whatever comes your way. The more you embrace your emotions, the more you trust yourself to navigate through life's ups and downs. You stop seeing emotions as enemies and start viewing them as guides, showing you the way forward. Each emotion carries wisdom. Each one teaches you something valuable. By embracing them, you gain insight into your desires, your boundaries, and your inner strength. The path to healing, growth, and personal transformation is not about avoiding the tough emotions, but about fully experiencing and accepting them. When you embrace your emotions, you allow them to move through you rather than staying stuck in them. This is where true power lies, not in running from your feelings, but in honoring them. Fear and frustration highlight what matters and show readiness to grow. These emotions, though often viewed negatively, are not just signs of discomfort or resistance. They are indicators of what we truly care about and where we are ready to expand. When you feel fear, it's not a sign to stop. It's a sign that something important is at stake. Fear often arises in the face of change, risk, or the unknown, but it also points to areas of growth. If you are afraid of something, it might be because it matters deeply to you, whether it's a new opportunity in your life or something that challenges your current identity. Fear is simply the emotional response to stepping outside of your comfort zone, and stepping outside that comfort zone is where growth happens. When we experience fear, it's easy to think that it's a signal to retreat, to play it safe, and to avoid taking risks. But fear is not there to stop you. It's there to tell you that you are moving in the direction of something meaningful. The things that scare us the most often hold the greatest potential for personal development. For example, the fear of failure might arise when you're about to start something new. But what if failure is actually an opportunity to learn, to refine your skills, and to come back stronger? The fear of rejection might occur when you put yourself out there, but what if rejection is simply a step toward finding the people and opportunities that truly resonate with you? Similarly, frustration is another emotion that arises when we feel blocked or restricted. It's a signal that something is not aligning with our desires, values, or expectations. Rather than seeing frustration as a roadblock, it's more accurate to view it as a catalyst for change. When we feel frustrated, it means that we care about something deeply, whether it's a personal goal, a relationship, or a situation that isn't unfolding as we'd hoped. Frustration is a prompt to take a step back, recess, and ask ourselves what's truly important in that moment. It shows us where our boundaries lie, where we need to push harder, or where we need to let go and change our approach. Frustration can be a powerful motivator. It brings our attention to the areas in which we are ready to grow, to push past limitations and to pursue new solutions. It's the feeling of being at the edge of something where we're no longer willing to accept things as they are and are ready to take action toward something better. Whether that means developing new skills, seeking out fresh perspectives, or setting new boundaries, frustration can be the spark that ignites change. It often indicates that we've reached a point where we're no longer content with the status quo, and that dissatisfaction is the perfect fuel for transformation. In both fear and frustration, there's a powerful message. Something important is at stake, and you are ready to evolve. These emotions are signs of growth, signaling that you are pushing past your current limitations, challenging your beliefs, and stepping into new territory. By acknowledging fear and frustration not as roadblocks, but as invitations to grow, you open yourself up to new possibilities. You allow yourself to move beyond the comfort of the familiar and embrace the power that comes with change. Embrace all emotions without judgment. They are part of the human experience. So often we find ourselves judging our emotions, particularly the ones that don't feel comfortable or easy to handle. We may feel guilt for being angry, shame for feeling sadness, or frustration for feeling anxious. There is a tendency to believe that only certain emotions are acceptable or good, while others should be hidden or suppressed. But every emotion, no matter how uncomfortable, is a natural and valid part of being human. The sooner we can accept all our feelings without judgment, the sooner we can begin to understand and grow from them. When you experience an emotion, it's easy to immediately label it as good or bad, but in doing so, you miss the opportunity to explore the deeper meaning behind that emotion. For example, when we feel anger, we might judge ourselves harshly, believing that it's wrong to be angry or that we're somehow bad for feeling it. But anger is often a reaction to something important, a boundary being crossed, a need not being met, or an injustice being perceived. Instead of rejecting anger, what if we embraced it and asked ourselves why we're feeling it? What is it telling us about our values, our needs, and what we stand for? Anger can be a powerful self-awareness, but only if we give ourselves the permission to feel it without judgment. Similarly, sadness often carries a stigma. Many people try to push away sadness because it feels heavy and vulnerable. There's an unspoken belief that sadness is a sign of weakness, that we should always be happy or optimistic. But sadness is a natural response to loss, disappointment, or unmet expectations, and it deserves our compassion, not condemnation. By accepting sadness without judgment, we allow ourselves the space to process and heal. It's in the acceptance of sadness that we find the potential for growth, resilience, and deeper emotional understanding. Rather than running from sadness, we can sit with it, feel it, and let it teach us about our emotional landscape. Anxiety is another emotion that is often judged harshly. We live in a society that values productivity, achievement, and control, and anxiety can feel like an unwelcome interruption. We may see it as a sign of inadequacy or weakness, but anxiety is a signal that we're feeling uncertain or out of control, and that is part of being human. When we judge ourselves for feeling anxious, we make the experience even more overwhelming. But when we accept anxiety as part of the emotional spectrum, we can begin to work with it rather than against it. Anxiety often arises when we are faced with something new, something unknown, or something outside our comfort zone. Instead of rejecting it, we can acknowledge it, give it space, and use it as a reminder that we're moving through a challenging moment, one that is often necessary for growth. When we embrace all emotions, we allow ourselves to experience the full range of the human experience. Each emotion, no matter how uncomfortable, carries valuable insight and wisdom. By accepting our emotions without judgment, we free ourselves from the need to suppress or deny our feelings. We give ourselves permission to be real, to be human, and to move through life with authenticity. Embracing all emotions, not just the ones that feel easy, gives us the opportunity to live fully, to understand ourselves on a deeper level, and to navigate the world with more compassion and acceptance. You are defined by your ability to rise and learn, not by fleeting emotions. It's easy to get caught up in the idea that our emotions define who we are, that if we feel sad, angry, or fearful, we are somehow weak, flawed, or incapable. But emotions are not the sum of who we are. They are simply temporary responses to the world around us. They are signals, messages from within, guiding us toward what we need to address or understand. What truly defines us is our ability to rise above those emotions, to learn from them, and to move forward with wisdom and resilience. Think about a moment in your life when you faced adversity or hardship. Perhaps you felt overwhelmed, frustrated, or uncertain. These emotions are natural, but they do not define your ability to overcome challenges. The way you responded to those emotions, the way you found strength in the face of discomfort, that is what truly defines your character. It is not the emotion itself, but your ability to acknowledge it, process it, and use it to fuel your growth that shapes who you are. We often get stuck in the idea that negative emotions are something to be avoided, something that makes us less than or not good enough. But every emotion, no matter how difficult, offers us the opportunity to rise. It is in the midst of struggle that we find our true strength, our resilience, and our capacity to learn and grow. When you feel fear, for example, it doesn't mean that you are weak or incapable. It means you are facing something significant, something that challenges you, and in doing so you are building courage. When you feel sadness, it doesn't mean that you are broken. It means you are experiencing loss, and through that you are learning how to heal, to rebuild, and to appreciate what truly matters to you. In life, it is not the emotions we experience that define us, it's how we respond to them. Do we allow ourselves to be overwhelmed by our feelings, to let them dictate our actions and choices? Or do we acknowledge them, feel them, and then rise above them to create something meaningful and positive from the experience? The key is not in suppressing emotions or pretending they don't exist, but in understanding that they do not control us. We control how we process and move through them. Emotions may be fleeting, but our ability to learn, grow, and rise above them is what stays with us. When we see emotions for what they are, temporary responses to situations rather than permanent definitions of who we are, we free ourselves from the constraints that they can place on us. We begin to understand that emotions do not have the power to define our worth or our potential. What defines us is our capacity to use those emotions as tools for growth, to rise in the face of challenges, and to keep learning from every experience. So when you face difficult emotions, remember you are not defined by the fear, sadness, or frustration you feel. What defines you is your ability to acknowledge those feelings, to understand what they are trying to teach you, and to rise, learn, and keep moving forward. Every emotion is an opportunity to grow stronger, wiser, and more resilient, but it is your response to them that ultimately shapes your path. Embrace your journey. It's okay not to have all the answers. In a world that often emphasizes certainty, success, and having everything figured out, it's easy to feel like you're falling behind or not doing enough if you don't have a clear roadmap for your life. We look around and see others with their paths seemingly well defined, their goals aligned, and their achievements stacking up. This can create a sense of inadequacy or pressure to have it all together. But the truth is, no one truly has it all figured out, and that's perfectly okay. The beauty of life lies in the journey itself, in the process of learning, evolving, and growing, even when you don't know what comes next. We all go through phases where we feel uncertain, unsure, or even lost. These moments are not signs of failure, they are part of the process of living authentically. There is no one right way to know, one correct path to follow. The more we try to fit ourselves into predefined molds or chase someone else's definition of success, the further we stray from our own authentic journey. It's okay to not have all the answers. In fact, those moments of uncertainty are often the most transformative. They force us to slow down, reflect, and ask ourselves what we truly want, what truly matters to us. They invite us to explore new directions, to try things we never thought we would, and to get in touch with the parts of ourselves that we may have neglected. Rather than seeing these moments of doubt as obstacles, view them as invitations. They are signals that you are on the edge of something new, that you are in a space of possibility and potential. It's during the times when you don't have all the answers you are forced to listen to your inner voice more deeply, to trust yourself and the process of discovery. You don't have to know exactly where you're headed. What matters is that you're moving forward, even if the steps are small. The act of moving forward with faith without knowing every detail builds courage and resilience. Each step you take, even in the face of uncertainty, brings you closer to your authentic self and to the life that aligns with their eyes as your desires. The pressure to have everything figured out can be paralyzing, and it often stops us from taking any action at all. But progress isn't always about having a clear plan. Sometimes it's about being willing to take the next step, even if it's imperfect or unclear. Every step you take, even if it feels like a misstep, is valuable. It teaches you something about yourself, about what you want, and about what you don't want. These moments of trial and error are part of the discovery process. You are not meant to have every piece of the puzzle laid out for you from the start. Life is messy, unpredictable, and filled with detours, and that is where growth happens. Embrace that uncertainty, embrace the journey. Remember, the path is rarely linear, and that's what makes it so meaningful. It's okay to stumble, to question, to change your mind, and to grow in unexpected ways. You are not defined by your past choices or by the times you felt uncertain.